So, if you guys remember, a while ago I did My Adventures with Batman, which was like a version of what if World's Finest happened in the My Adventures of Superman cartoon. So I was thinking, the only way I could follow up with Batman is teaming up this version of Superman and bringing in how I would do Wonder Woman in this series. So here we are with My Adventures with Wonder Woman. So this takes place after the end of season 1. Clark is still, wondering about, his people out there. Are they still conquerors? Because he doesn't know the full story. He's just going on what he knows. He's also dealing with the fact that there's evil versions of him out there killing thousands of people in the multiverse. So, he's going through a lot right now. But he is still being Superman. He is still putting himself into Metropolis, and him and Lois are having a stable relationship now that Jimmy's also got $5 million to use as he pleases. He's not being frugal with it, but he's also kind of being a big spender as well. So Clark and Lois are dealing with, Clark being this larger than life, protecting Metropolis, being the big hero of the city. But while that's going on, there's been an announcement from the U.S. There's been this person touring around the U.S. Showcasing themselves, and that person is Diana of Themyscira, Wonder Woman. She's recently shown up. She's only shown up 3 months ago, a little after Superman popped up. But rather than be a blur and slowly reveal themselves to the world, Diana's just like, "Hi, I'm Wonder Woman. I'm from an island of women. My name, hi." So, and she's coming to Metropolis for several reasons, and one of which is to showcase, talk to man. She's more in here, she is the superhero thing, but she's more taking on the whole ambassador role. You guys remember from the original comics was that she was sent into man's world to be an ambassador, and she gives talks. She gives talks to people, and has become a feminist icon, much like she was in the original '70s comics. So she's going around giving TED Talks essentially, but she's also she is capable of whipping ass. But she's also in an interview she talks about meeting Superman. She wants to meet Superman, and Clark's like, "Wow, this Diana of Themyscira, they're calling her the Wonder Woman," and Lois is like, "She's not so wonderful. I don't see any wonder with her." But he's like, "Yeah, maybe I'll go talk to her. She's just as it's kind of cool." And Lois is like, "Why would you want to go talk to her, Clark?" And he's like, "Well, she's pretty. She's kind of like me, where she's not human, and she's living in a world of humans." And she's like, "Sure." And he's like, "Lois, are you jealous of me meeting Wonder Woman?" She's like, "No, of course not. Totally not. I am not threatened by some woman who's a 6-foot Amazonian with killer abs and all of that." So and Clark's like, "Well, I guess I want. It's okay, Lois. I understand. I won't go near her. If she comes and meets me, that's fine. That's a different story. But I won't go seek her out." However, he gets put on. Perry puts him on as his first big private, solo interview. Perry White puts Clark at her next meeting in Metropolis, and Lois and Jimmy are sent somewhere else. And Lois is like, "Wait, we're a whole team. We go together." And he's like, "Sorry, Lois, we're a little stretched thin with Steve covering football season and Kat taking on more than one job. We've got some credibility to get back after Vicky Vale took us for a ride." And she wonders why Bruce Wayne won't call her back. And Superman's like, "Oh, there's plenty of reasons why he'll never call her back." What? Nothing. So a little tie-in with My Adventures with Batman. But anyway, so Clark goes, and he's like, I'm not gonna reveal myself as Superman. And so Diana talks about man's world and its effect on it. And there are some dude bros who are like, "This woman, this feminazi thinks she can just come in and tell us what to do." And that's when Diana just throws out the lasso of truth around several of them. Is like, "What's your truth?" the golden lasso, the lasso of truth compels you to tell the truth. And they go, we're intimidated by you, and we can't get an erection without, domestic dispute, and we have female issues and abandonment issues. Thought so. And she just takes the lasso off. But Lois does sneak and follow Clark as he's at the meeting, and that's where she meets a young man named Steve Trevor. And it turns out Steve Trevor is Diana's liaison. Not only that, she finds out he's low-key dating Diana. And Steve is like, oh, you must be Miss Lane. You're the one who's seen with Superman everywhere. Trust me, I know what it's like to be in the shadow of someone who's a god. And he's actually, like, intimidated by the thought of her talking to Superman. And she's like, you too, huh? And he's like, that obvious? So Steve and Lois kind of, like, bond. They pretty much bond over the fact that they're dating gods. Like, they can, and they're worried about, like, living up to, living with and being with someone who is essentially a god. And he's like, in Diana's case, she actually is a god. And she's like, she can't be a god. There's no such thing. And he's like, according to Diana, she was made from clay and breathed life in by Zeus. And she's like, how do you know this? And he's like, because I was the idiot who flew into their island, and she saved me from being castrated by her mother. She's like, for real? Yeah. So Lois and Steve befriend each other. Meanwhile, Clark gets to have an interview with Diana, and Diana is like, "You must be the Superman," and she's like, "No, I'm not Superman." And that's when she's like, "I am Superman, and I just wanted to talk to you because I feel like I feel like you can understand where I'm coming from because, and I have I'm stepping on your lasso, aren't I?" And she's like, "Mm-hmm," and he sees like his foot is caught in her lasso. And she's like, you are, so who are you born of? Like, who are you born of? And he's like, born of? And she's like, I was born of the Amazons and, in fight in the name of Hera and Hippolyta and, my mother Hippolyta, and I fight in the name of Hera and Athena. Who are you are you a son of Zeus? And he's like, no. And she's like, Ares? No, I'm not a god, I don't think. I come from space. I thought you came from space. And she's like, you came from out there? She's like, yeah, I thought that's one of the reasons why I wanted to meet you. It's kind of like at least this meeting we're not beating the shit out of each other like when I met Batman. And she's like, you met Bruce too? And she's like, you know he's Bruce? And she's like, did he try to kill you? Did he try to fight you too? Yeah. That's Bruce. And she's like, how do you know his secret identity? Because and Diana goes, because I ripped that silly cowl off of his face when he and after I broke 3 of his ribs. And he goes, damn. So Superman. So she gets into her Wonder Woman costume, and they're flying around, and they're talking to each other. And Superman's like, "This is really cool. Like I've never really encountered, like, meeting Batman was one thing, but like you are like just as powerful as me." And she's like, "I am." And I want it, and he's like, "You didn't think I was going to be a threat, did you?" And she's like, "No." And she's like, "Did you want to? Was this like? Did you want to meet me for another reason?" She's like, "I have a boyfriend." And he goes, "Oh, I have a girlfriend. It's cool." Totally platonic. And he goes, "So we're cool?" And she's like, "I wouldn't." And she's like, "You seem like too much of a Boy Scout for me." And he goes, "Fair enough." So they're talking, and Superman and Diana are like connecting because they've lived in a world where it's a house made of cardboard, and they're kind of talking about that. Like, Superman's kind of happy to be around someone who is just as powerful as he is, but understands, like, responsibility, because he's like, I'm still learning about it. I'm still learning about, like, how to cope with all of this. And that, during the conversation, they're like, well, we're meeting each other for the first time. And she's like, I thought Batman was like us, but it turns out he's just a sad man in a costume. And he's like, oh, Bruce isn't that bad. He's just kind of a jerk. Anyway, so Diana reveals another reason that she's out here in Metropolis, a secret reason, and that is because she's been, all of her tour that she and Steve have been doing is that she's been hunting someone. she's been hunting someone who has been she's been following the trail of someone who escaped who escaped Themyscira. It's not Ares, it was Circe. See, in this continuity, Circe was a advisor to Hippolyta, but tried to assassinate her. Hippolyta managed to stop her, and what happened was Hippolyta's sister was killed in the attempted coup. But Hippolyta was locked away. However, someone freed her, and she made it into man's world, where she's been using her dark magic on the minds of men and influencing them. So she's been on. That's one of the reasons why she came to the world, to to help influence and better influence the minds of men and keep them away from Circe's reach. And Superman's like, come on, magic, really? She's a sorceress? And she's like, don't take sorcery is a real thing. Like, you're gonna have to deal with that. God help you if you ever meet John Constantine. John who? Don't meet him. She's like, don't bother. Anyway, so Superman agrees to help, even though he's not convinced that magic's a real thing yet. He does agree to be like, all right, I'll help you. I'll help you figure out. I'll help you find Circe. I don't believe in magic, but I believe she's a threat, like you said she is. So the two of them team up and go to Metropolis. Meanwhile, while this is going on, Steve and Lois are still having conversations, and that's when they get attacked by a bunch of men who are like, they're juiced up on something. And Steve is like, "Oh crap, I know what this is." And Lois is like, "What? Magic." And Lois is like, "Are you shitting me right now? Magic? Really? Like that's what's going on, is that it's dark magic?" And the men are like, "Kill the woman! These women think they can rule the world." And yeah, the more they fight them, the more like animal-like they become. And he's like, Circe, and Steve is like Circe. So Steve and Lois are running for their lives, and they're trying to get in contact with Jimmy. But however, Jimmy's like, "Don't ever call me again. I shouldn't have trusted a woman to influence me. This alien's a threat, and I'm going to use the money I had and invest it into ways to stopping you and every other woman from getting into our heads." And she's like, "What the hell's going on with Jimmy?" Yeah, Jimmy's is being taken over by Circe. He's being influenced by Circe. Meanwhile, while this is going on, Task Force X, who is hunting Superman, have deployed Silver Banshee to see if she could get in close and take out Superman, or at the very least take out Wonder Woman. And Walter's like, even if Banshee dies, like, we can collect the data on Wonder Woman and Superman and fight them better next time. But as she's going to fight her, Banshee is intercepted by Circe, and Circe is like, you can't beat both of them. Your government sent you on a suicide mission to die. I can help you, on the other hand. And Silver Banshee's like, cool, yeah, let's do it. Give me the real power. And she becomes more like the supernatural Silver Banshee we see in the comics. So that's how we're doing that. So Superman and Wonder Woman finally find Circe and Silver Banshee attacking the Daily Planet and influencing all the men. And they're like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you making men hate each other?" And she's like, "The men's minds are so easily influenced. All you have to do is just attack their masculinity, and they fall apart like a deck of cards. It's fun." And so Superman tries to fight Circe. He gets blasted, and Silver Banshee attacks him. And that's when he discovers a new weakness. It's not just kryptonite and the red sun radiation he encountered with Batman. Now he's discovered his weakness to magic. So Superman now has to fight. Now he has to fight a magically enhanced version of one of his enemies, and battle something he can't mentally wrap his head around. So him and Diana have to fight together, and they fight hard. Like, they're just tearing apart the Daily Planet in a just no holds bar matchup. And eventually, Diana does wrap her the lasso around Silver Banshee, and she just flings her out, like almost into orbit, while Superman's battling Circe, and she's trying to get in Superman's head, and be like, fight for me, what has Lois done for you? And that's when Clark goes, like, he fights through all the magic and grabs Circe by the throat and goes, she loves me. That's what she does for me. And he just punches out Circe, and the spell's broken. Diana takes custody of Circe and sends her, and calls to Athena to send her back to Themyscira. And Athena's like, son of Jor-El, I am pleased to meet you. It is not every day you get to meet a Kryptonian. And he's like, is that what I am? Wait, no, come back. Who's Jor-El? No, come back. Oh, and Athena's like, I gotta go. God, Athena away, up and away. So by the end of it, all's well that ends well, and Diana basically says that you're not, no matter what you saw, you're still, you are who you are, and that is a good man. And I think Lois helps you, and she even gives Lois some advice. Is like, you're Lois Lane, you're a very powerful woman. And and Lois is like, oh, really? I thanks, Diana. She's like, I think I'm having a bi panic. But yeah, so Steve also gives his advice to Lois and just be like, yeah, we'll just be, we're not gods like them, but we can pick them up when they fall down. And the two groups part ways by the end of it. So there you go, guys. There's My Adventures with Wonder Woman. You guys let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this. Like I said, this was on my mind after doing the My Adventures with Batman story. So I was like, I gotta do the next. It's logical to have all the Trinity here. So you guys just comment below, let me know what you guys thought of this. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.